Hello my bookworms, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sydney and today's video is yet another book haul. So hey, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. I'm just gonna jump right into it. So some of these books I have been gifted from my wish list from some of you lovely people. And then there are quite a few that I bought, and then there are also quite a few that my mom bought me because she's an angel. My mom and I recently went on like a camping trip, and there was a bookstore in the town that we were passing through, and obviously we had to stop in. I mean, I don't know what you expect from me, but books were purchased. So we're gonna go through all of them. I think it's about 20. First, I'll go through some of the books that I was gifted that randomly showed up on my doorstep and made that day so much brighter. The first one is Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford, and this one was gifted to me by Brandy, one of my patrons over on my Patreon channel. So thank you so much for one, being a part of my little worm family over on the Patreon account, but also for this book that I have been so excited about. It is a cute little guy. I didn't actually know that it was this short when I put it on my wish list, but it is, and it's really adorable. I have heard that it's weird, and if you know me at all, I love weird. On the cover, it says, "It is a weird, tender, haunted, and deeply affecting spectacle, unlike anything you will read this year." I don't know if you can hear all the sirens, but shit's going down around my house right now. So this one says that our main character Ada and her father are touched by the power to heal illness, and they live on the edge of a village where they can help the sick locals, or cures is what they call them, by cracking open their damaged bodies or temporarily burying them in a reviving, dangerous ground nearby. Ada is both more and less than human, and is mostly uninterested in the cures until she meets a man named Samson. When they strike up an affair to the displeasure of her father and Samson's widowed, pregnant sister, Ada is torn between her old way of life and new possibilities with her lover, and eventually comes to a decision that will forever change Samson, the town, and the ground itself. And the ground has a capital G, so like it's a thing. I think that sounds absolutely bizarre, and I'm really excited about it. The next book that I got is Verity by Colleen Hoover. This one was gifted to me. Oh no. Oh, this one didn't come with a note. But I'm now remembering, and I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, it was Anna Maria. She is one of my patrons, and she did send me Verity by Colleen Hoover. Okay, we can move on. We can go forward. I have never read Colleen Hoover, so I have no idea what to expect. But this is one that I think Christine from the Roomies Digest read, and I think that she loved it. So I put it on my wish list, and then it showed up on my doorstep. So here we are. From what I understand, Colleen Hoover writes predominantly like hard-hitting romances? Yes? I know a lot of my friends have cried from reading her books. So there's this one. And from the gist of what I can gather, our main character, Lowen, is a struggling writer, but she is being hired by a very successful writer to complete a series that she is too ill to finish. And when Lowen arrives at the house to go through the author's notes and things, you know, to continue the story, she finds a chaotic, unfinished autobiography that Verity, the author who was hiring Lowen, never intended for anyone to read it. And in this autobiography, there is page after page of bone-chilling admissions, including Verity's recollection of the night their family was forever altered. And the main character decides to keep it kind of under wraps, keep it away from the husband who is already grieving and sad from what happened, apparently, that I don't know what it is, but we'll find out. And it literally says a standalone romantic thriller. So okay, the next one that I got in the mail was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And this was from Matt, who is on Matt_reads on Instagram. And this is actually really funny because the only reason that I put this on my wish list was because my friends Alyssa and Daryan were saying how I need to read it. And I was like, I genuinely don't know if I ever will. And they said, put it on your wish list and I'll buy it for you. And then they were fighting over who was gonna buy it for me. And it ended up being neither of them got to it first. Matt did. And I genuinely don't even think that Matt knew that that conversation was a thing. So it was just really funny that it showed up, but neither of them bought it. But yeah, so here it is, I have it. And this is that, iconic booktube book of Daisy, who is coming of age in LA in the late 60s. And I'm pretty sure it's like a interview with the band Daisy Jones and the Six. It is written as if it were the oral history of one of the biggest bands of the 70s. And I'm guessing just like a bunch of drama happens. Here it is. Now, from here on out, it will be books that I or my mother have purchased for myself, for I. So the first one that I'll say is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. This is a memoir, and I just remember seeing this like probably a year ago on Esme's channel. She is an absolute firecracker, and I love her, and I miss her face. But she was reading this, and I just remember loving the cover, and then I forgot about it. And then I saw this when I was out shopping and had to pick it up. Had to do it. There wasn't an option. And it says, when it comes to the trials and triumphs of becoming an adult, Dolly Alderton has seen and experienced it all. Everything I Know About Love is about bad dates, good friends, and above all else, realizing that you are enough. Wildly funny, occasionally heartbreaking, it's all about growing up, growing older, and learning to navigate friendships, jobs, loss, and romance along the way. I just remember Esme really, really loving it, and all of the things that it says it talks about, who couldn't benefit from reading a little bit about it? So I am very excited to have it in my hands and in my little chaos of a library. Okay, the next few I'm going to talk about all at once because they're kind of a set in a way. They are classics, I know, who is she? So from all of these, we have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, we have Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights, we have Jane Austen's Emma, and then we also have Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice. I really liked all of these covers. I thought that the little diamond accents on the sides were just really, really pretty. And this one, oh my god, I just can't handle how pretty it is. And then I just loved the simplicity of the Jane Eyre copy. This was what I originally was looking for in the bookshop. I was just wondering if they had any pretty copies of Jane Eyre, and they did. And then I saw all these and bought them. The next one that I got was in the same kind of area as all of those classics, and it is Dante Inferno. This copy, I could not leave it there. Can you just look at how pretty it is. I love it. Ooh, that's a good paperback. Ooh, and I actually haven't read this or anything, but I know that Caleb has his own copy, and I know I've seen it around the house. It's just not this copy. But I read the back, and I thought it sounds really cool, really interesting. Little tidbit is Dante's Divine Comedy relates the allegorical tale of a poet's journey through the three realms of the dead. Dante encounters mythical, historical, and contemporaneous figures in their respective afterlives. Relying on classical pagan mythology and Christian imagery and theology, Dante imagines diverse, vivid, and inventive punishments for the various sinners he encounters. And there's like maps in here and shit. I don't know. I think it sounds like it could be really interesting. This is one that I would definitely want to do an audiobook alongside, because it does seem like it has some older English verbology, so to say. But yeah, so it was just absolutely stunning, and I couldn't leave it. Okay, next. The next one that I got, it was actually the day that this book was released, was the day that I was in this bookshop, and it is Survive the Night by Riley Sager, New York Times bestselling author of Home Before Dark, which I did not like. But I want to give him another shot, because I don't think that Home Before Dark was a terrible book, but I definitely hated the ending of it. But I didn't hate the writing, you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm gonna give him another shot. I'm gonna read this and hopefully not hate it. So basically in this one, there is a campus killer, and one of the victims was our main character's best friend. Now, our main character, who is Charlie, is sharing a ride with Josh Baxter, who are both driving from college, where they're at, to Ohio. It's like this rideshare program that goes on, apparently. They both have their own reasons of getting away. For Charlie, it is the guilt and grief over losing her best friend to the serial killer. And then Josh, it is to help care for his sick father, or so he says. The longer she sits in the passenger seat, the more Charlie notices there's something suspicious about Josh. From the holes in his story about his father to how he doesn't want her to see the inside of the trunk. As they travel an empty, twisty highway in the dead of night, an increasingly anxious Charlie begins to think she's sharing a car with the campus killer. Is Josh truly dangerous, or is Charlie's jittery mistrust merely a figment of her movie-fueled imagination? One thing is certain, Charlie has nowhere to run and no way to call for help. Trapped in a terrifying game of cat and mouse played out on pitch-black roads and neon-lit parking lots, Charlie knows the only way to win is to survive the night. I think that it has promise. I think that it sounds like it's a storyline that I could get behind. I just hope that he doesn't butcher the ending or the big reveal like he did in Home Before Dark. My personal opinion. The next one that I got, it was at checkout at this bookstore. And my mom actually bought this book on her own, like out in the world. I was very proud of her. And so I bought it because I thought maybe we could read it together, my mother and I. And plus because it is a series on Netflix now, and I kind of want to read it before I watch it. So it is The Woman in the Window by A. And this one is another thriller, and we follow Anna Fox, who lives alone. A recluse in her New York City home, unable to venture outside. She spends her days drinking wine, maybe too much, same, watching old movies, recalling happier times, and spying on her neighbors. Then the Russells move into the house across the way. A father, a mother, their teenage son. The perfect family. But when Anna, gazing out her window one night, sees something she shouldn't, her world begins to crumble, and its shocking secrets are laid bare. What is real? What is imagined? Who is in danger? Who is in control? In this diabolically gripping thriller, no one and nothing is what it seems. So I think that that's really interesting. I didn't know that this woman has like agoraphobia, right? Is that the word? Yeah, it's agoraphobia. So I think that that's a really interesting take on how to build this main character, the woman in the window, you know? I think that it has a lot of potential, so here it is, we have it. The next two that I will talk about, I got so that I could finish out the series. These are the last two books in this series that I just didn't have a physical copy of, so I went ahead and just bought it from this small bookstore because it's better than buying from Amazon. And it is the last two books of the Mortal Instruments, so it is City of Lost Souls and City of Heavenly Fire. So these are the 5th and 6th book in the series. I still am on book 4. I have to read book 4 next. But now I have 5 and 6 for when I get there. And this is, like I said, The Mortal Instruments. It's by Cassandra Clare. This is the Shadow Hunters realm, and it's a lot of fun. I really do like this world. I like most of these characters. I'm just excited to finish out this series as well as the Infernal Devices, and then I can continue on in this Cassie Clare realm because I do enjoy her writing. And it's been fun so far. So now I have the last 2 books in the series, and they're there for when I need them. The next 2, they were also at the checkout purchases. Me and my mom and I were the only people in the store, so we were chatting up the person working in the bookstore, and they have all of these, like recommendation shelves for like the employees. They pick their top 5 favorites or something, and then they have them recommended to us there. And both of these were on this girl's favorite bookshelf. And that being said, she really sold them to me. Legitimately and also just like emotionally. She was talking about them and I was like, okay, all right, fine, I'm in. The first one is Artemis by Andy Weir. This is the author that wrote The Martian. I haven't read The Martian, but I have watched the movie and it was brilliant. And now we have Artemis by the same author. And the girl that was working there was saying that this is basically just like one of her all-time favorite books of all time. So when someone says like it's their all-time favorite book and there's a copy for sale, you don't just put it down and be like, oh cool, bye. You buy it. I bought it. So this is a sci-fi book, and our main character is Jasmine Bashara, and she never signed up to be a hero. She just wanted to get rich. Not crazy, eccentric billionaire rich like many of the visitors to her hometown of Artemis, humanity's first and only lunar colony. Just rich enough to move out of her coffin-sized apartment and eat something better than flavored algae. Rich enough to pay off a debt she's owed for a long time. So when a chance at a huge score finally comes her way, Jazz can't say no. But engineering the perfect crime is just the start of her problems, because her little heist is about to land her in the middle of a conspiracy for control of Artemis itself. Trapped between competing forces, persuaded by a killer and the law alike, she'll have to hatch a truly spectacular scheme to have a chance at staying alive and saving her city. Jazz is no hero, but she is a very good criminal. That'll have to do. I think that sounds amazing. I really didn't know that there was even a possibility of a supposed heist, obviously mixed in with some sort of criminal activity, so I am all for this. All while being on like the first lunar civilization. That's super cool. And the way that The Martian played out in the movie, at least, was incredible. So I'm expecting the sci-fi elements in here to be very cool. So I'm excited about it. And the next one is by the same exact author. It is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. And I think that the bookstore worker pitched this to me as just as good as The Martian, but this one had like so many plot twists that she never saw coming, and that it was also just really funny. So the tagline is "A lone astronaut, an impossible mission, and an ally he never imagined." Basically, our main character is Ryland Grace, who is a sole survivor on a desperate last chance mission, and if he fails, humanity and Earth itself will perish. Except right now, he doesn't know that. He can't even remember his own name, let alone the nature of his assignment or how to complete it. All he knows is that he's been asleep for a very, very long time, and he's just been awakened to find himself millions of miles from home with nothing but 2 corpses for company. His crewmate's dead, his memories fuzzily returning. Ryland realizes that an impossible task now confronts him. Hurtling through space in this tiny ship, it's up to him to puzzle out an impossible scientific mystery and conquer an extinction-level threat to our species. And with the clock ticking down and the nearest human being light years away, he's got to do it all alone. Or does he? A lot of the quotes on the back are saying that it is very super plausible in terms of the science fiction, brilliantly funny and enjoyable, and very compelling. So I am excited about it. I think that Andy Weir is going to really make me fall in love with the sci-fi genre, even though I already know that I enjoy it. I just haven't let myself actually experience it as much as I would like. So I'm excited to have these on my shelf now. The next 2 that I'll talk about were my choices from last month's Book of the Month purchase, which now I am also a Book of the Month BFF, so now I have my own tote bag, which is really cute. Really all about it. My first book choice was 56 Days by Katherine Ryan Howard. This one sounds spooky, and I'm into it. It says, 56 days ago, Ciara and Oliver meet in a supermarket queue in Dublin and start dating the same week COVID-19 reaches Irish shores. 35 days ago, when lockdown threatens to keep them apart, Oliver suggests they move in together. Ciara sees a unique opportunity for a relationship to flourish without the scrutiny of family and friends. Oliver sees a chance to hide who and what he really is. Today, detectives arrive at Oliver's apartment to discover a decomposing body inside. Can they determine what really happened, or has lockdown created an opportunity for someone to commit the perfect crime? Surface level, it seems pretty straightforward, Sounds like he's a murderer and that she's dead. But there has to be some sort of plot twist, and I am intrigued enough to read this. So this was my first choice. And then I also got, as an add-on, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Last month, or I think it was last month, I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which was my first read by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I loved it. It was absolutely amazing. Had a great time. So now, looks like I'm making my way through her other works. And this one takes place in Malibu in August 1983. It's the day of Nina Riva's annual end of the summer party. In this family, there is Nina, her 2 brothers Jay and Hud, and then their baby sister, Kit. By midnight, the party will completely be out of control. By morning, the Riva mansion will have gone up in flames. But before that first spark in the early hours before dawn, the alcohol will flow, the music will play, and the loves and secrets that shaped this family's generations will all come rising to the surface. Malibu Rising is a story about one unforgettable night in the life of a family. The night they each have to choose what they will keep from the people who made them and what they will leave behind. And from the synopsis, I can tell that all of these people have so many secrets hiding from one another, and it's at a party with alcohol. Drama is about to ensue. And I am here to figure out what the drama is. I just want to watch it all unfold, and I'm looking forward to it. The next book I got is Only Daughter by Anna Snoekstra, and this is also a thriller. To be exact, it is a psychological thriller mixed with some crime drama. This one I hadn't heard of, but it's for a video that I'm not telling you about quite yet, and it says, in 2003, 16-year-old Rebecca Winter disappeared. 11 years later, she is replaced. A young woman, despite after being arrested, claims to be the decade missing Beck. Soon the imposter is living Beck's life, sleeping in her bed, hugging her mother and father, learning her best friends' names, playing with her little brothers. But Beck's welcoming family and enthusiastic friends are not quite as they seem. As the imposter dodges the detective investigating her case, she begins to delve into the life of the real Beck Winter and soon realizes that whoever took Beck is still at large and that she is in imminent danger. I'm trying to wrap my head around this. This sounds like a psychological thriller. to a T. And it also sounds like one that will keep you guessing. So I at least know that this is one person who I trust. It's one of their favorite books, which is why I picked it up and why I'm reading it in the future. But if you also have read this, let me know down in the comments if you liked it or not. I'm looking forward to it. I think it sounds very interesting, and it's relatively short, which is really cool as well. The next book that I had, I actually pre-ordered it, and it is Dear Sinthurian by Akwaeke Emezi. If you've been here before, you might already know that Akwaeke Emezi is an auto-buy author for me. Their subject matter and just how they write their prose is just absolutely captivating. It's beautiful. I love it so much. So this obviously was just an auto-buy pre-order and purchase for me. This is their memoir, where they reveal the harrowing yet resolute truths of their own life. Through candid, intimate correspondence with friends, lovers, and family, Emezi traces the unfolding of a self and the unforgettable journey of a creative spirit stepping into power in the human world. Their story weaves through transformative decisions about their gender and body, their precipitous path to success as a writer, and the turmoil of relationships on an emotional, romantic, and spiritual plane, culminating in a book that is as tender as it is brutal. Dear Sinthurian is a revelatory account of storytelling, self, and survival. And I'm just so excited to be more in Akwaeke Emezi's mind. I just know that this is going to be a whole experience, and I'm very much looking forward to it. The last one I got, last one that we're going to talk about today, is also for a video. So this one is Where'd You Go Bernadette by Maria Semple. And in this one we follow our main character B, whose mother is named Bernadette. When they were planning for a trip to Antarctica, Bernadette becomes very stressed out and anxious, and she just leaves. She goes, she disappears, leaving her family to pick up the pieces, which is exactly what B does, weaving together emails, invoices, and school memos to reveal the secret past that Bernadette has been hiding for decades. Where'd You Go Bernadette is an ingeniously entertaining novel about a family coming to terms with who they are and the power of a daughter's love for her imperfect mother. Rachel from Let Me in the Library actually recommended this book to me, and she basically said that it is a story that has a bunch of twists and turns while also being incredibly funny. So I am all about that. I am excited to pick this up in the near future. And yeah, so I think that that is all that I have for you today. If you are still watching, then leave the rocket emoji down below in the comments. And if you are still here, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little bit. Don't forget to subscribe down below, like the video. I always appreciate your support. And of course, be kind to one another and happy reading. Bye.